Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are St. Louis.
A look at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, and it's so nice to be back home, a place where the Cardinals are 15 games above the 500 mark. It's also a place where the Cardinals will play their next 10 on their schedule. It's the championship banners that fly high atop this stadium, and tonight we could see a potential playoff preview as the Cardinals play host to the LA Dodgers. And from those championship banners, we say hello. Tonight we'll be at the UMB Champions Club all evening here on Fox Sports Midwest. My name is Dan McLaughlin. You never know who you might run into here at the Champions Club. That's Rick Horton, also the Mad Hungarian Al Hrabosky. We also have a great game in store for you, the first of four, all on Fox Sports Midwest against the Dodgers. And, Ricky, let's start with this pitching matchup. Zach Greinke getting the start tonight for L.A.
Well, Zach Greinke has been red hot. The Dodgers are red hot collectively. Greinke won 15 games a year ago. He got hurt early this season, but he's going to be tough. I know Cardinal fans are looking forward to this particular night.
And also we have on the other side Al Hrabosky, Adam Wainwright.
Love to talk about Adam Wainwright, one of the three 13-game winners in the National League. You know, he had a couple rough starts on the road trip, but he's back home where he pitches very well, has an excellent ERA, and when he pitches against the Dodgers at Busch Stadium, he has an ERA of 1.19. So look for another victory tonight.
Why are you guys so quiet? Let's go. It's the UMB Champions Club. Tonight on Fox Sports Midwest, game 1 of 4, and we hope you enjoy it. Looking at the World Series trophy here on Fox Sports Midwest. 4th for the Dodgers. An exciting player that really has helped turn the season around for the LA Dodgers.
I think a lot of Cardinal fans who love the game of baseball circled this day on the calendar knowing they'd have a chance to watch this 5-tool player. He really can do it all. Skip Schumacher says he has the best arm he's ever seen. Guess what? Skip could throw 90 from the mound, so he knows. But Puig has really energized this Dodgers team. Kemp struggled early on, but Puig really has made this team a contender.
Seal Puig will bat cleanup. We're at the UMB Champions Club. It should be some fun here tonight. The first of 4, the Dodgers, the Cardinals, the Champions Club, all on Fox Sports Midwest. Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. See your Mid-America Chevy dealer or log on to STLchevy.com. Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by Steak and Shake. Steak and Shake, just no equal. From the UMB Champions Club, along with Rick Horton, Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Delighted to have you with us as we get you set for baseball tonight. The Dodgers have been one of the hottest teams in all of Major League Baseball. They're 61-49. They lead the National League West by 5.5 games. The Cardinals start a game and a half back of Pittsburgh at 65-45. And there's a look at former Milwaukee Brewer and Angel and Kansas City Royal. Now with the Dodgers, Zach Greinke.
He's looking for his 100th career victory here today, and we all know how his season started. He had a little problem at the mound. He hit Carlos Quentin, he charged the mound, and he actually had a fractured clavicle, so he missed some time for the Dodgers. And the Dodgers have had to deal with their share of injuries. Matt Kemp, for one, Greinke as well. Crawford's kind of been in and out, but they seem to be fairly healthy now. Now, Hanley Ramirez is not in the lineup today because he had an issue yesterday, not on the disabled list, so we may see him before it's over. But the Dodgers have found ways, Dan, to fight through injuries, and this team certainly has a great feeling about themselves right now in their clubhouse because they keep winning, and amazingly, they just cannot lose on the road.
Team that has set a franchise record, 14 wins in a row on the road. And there's a look at Adam Wainwright, the ace of the St. Louis Cardinals, in a live look as he takes to the mound here at Busch Stadium. Wainwright has fared well, by the way, against Los Angeles here at home. 4 starts and a 1.19 ERA at Busch Stadium against the Dodgers. As we turn to Rick Horton's Toyota keys to the game.
Well, Adam's going to need to make some adjustments from his last start. He was up in the zone too much. He couldn't hold 3 different leads that his team gave him. Very uncharacteristic of Adam Wainwright. And if there's anybody that knows how to make adjustments, it's Mr. Wainwright. And no need for feast or famine. We don't need 13 runs and we don't need 0. Somewhere in between every night would be a little bit better, Dan, over the long haul. The Cardinals offense was certainly capable of picking up some big numbers on the road, just not every night.
You know, Daniel Descalso really swinging the bat well, and he'll play shortstop tonight in that defense you just saw for the St. Louis Cardinals. Carl Crawford, former Tampa Bay Ray, a lost season with Boston, now with the Dodgers. Mark Ellis, Adrian Gonzalez, Yasiel Puig, Andre Ethier, A.J. Ellis, Juan Uribe, Nick Punto, part of the 2011 World Championship team, and then Zach Greinke. So Descalso, because he's swinging the bat well, Rick, part of that Cardinals defense presented by Dobbs.
I'm not sure you would use the word platoon at this point, but it's pretty darn close. And I think Mike Matheny's certainly going to be hesitant to use that word because he doesn't want that to get inside Pete Kozma's head. But he's not afraid, let's put it that way, to put Descalso in there at short because of the way he's swinging the bat.
Kia starter Adam Wainwright, 24th start, 13-6 his record, very good ERA. Among the league leaders in innings pitched across Major League Baseball. We know about that great strikeout to walk ratio, one of the best in the game. So Carl Crawford leads it off. He's batting .280, 5 home runs. He's driven in 18, and the first pitch is taken for a strike, and we're underway. Crawford had some sensational years in the American League East while with the Rays. 0-1 pitch is fought off. Descalso going out and can't make the play. Drops in for a base hit. Crawford will stop at first base. Dodgers blue hit to start the 4-game series.
Yeah, Dan, the Dodgers have a few players that aren't afraid to run, and Carl Crawford's one of them. The Cardinals without Yadier Molina. It will be interesting to see just how aggressive Don Mattingly is and how aggressive will he be here in the first inning.
Mark Ellis, 14-game hitting streak, snapped over the weekend, hit over 400 during that streak. Went hitless yesterday as the Dodgers at Wrigley Field swept Chicago. And that's ball 1. Ellis on the year, hitting .277, 5 home runs. He's driven in 34, and about as sure-handed as they come at second base. Very good defensive player. One ball, 1 strike. Something we'll introduce to you tonight. We call it Phantom Cam. It should allow us to see a lot of the rotation and the spin, the baseball, the torque of the elbow with the pitcher, even greater than what we have with our super slow-mo. You saw the numbers there with Crawford. Remember, no Molina in the lineup. Still on the DL, so we'll see if they test Tony Cruz. Home plate umpire Mike Estabrook, Jim Joyce, the crew chief, down at first, Jeff Nelson at second, and Jim Wolf, longtime Major League umpires, at third. They run here, 2 balls, 1 strike.
Good hit and run count.
Not running, and the pitch could be 2. Out at second. And out at first. It's a double play. 5-4-3 on the double play.
Cardinals very happy the hit and run wasn't on this particular play. Affords them an opportunity to get yet another double play turned by Matt Carpenter. The Cardinals lead the National League in double plays, and they really do not miss many opportunities. That's one thing we've seen throughout the course of the year, that when they get a chance to get 2, most of the time they make it happen.
Adrian Gonzalez looks at ball 1. Gonzalez, a solid season, first full year with the Dodgers, hitting .297, 15 home runs. He's driven in 66. Back playing on the West Coast after a number of years with the Padres, and traded over in that big deal with Boston last year.
Very good power the other way.
It may surprise some that lefties are hitting .238 against Adam Wainwright. Right-handers .260.
I saw that split today, and I think maybe the answer is his cutter is improving, and he's able to get that in on the hands of left-handers, but it doesn't really explain why his curveball doesn't kind of negate the high average from the right-hander's point of view. Maybe making more mistakes with that pitch, perhaps, but you would expect Wainwright to be very tough on right-handers with the curve.
Pitch number 10 of the first inning. Well, he's painting right now, isn't he?
It's the command we were hoping for. The adjustment from his last game in Pittsburgh. He wasn't terrible in that game. He just wasn't the typical Adam Wainwright that we're used to.
The 2-2. Base hit. Hits it the other way. Fights it off past Descalso. He's playing near the bag at second. And a 2-out hit.
There's the delivery of Adam Wainwright. Realize the torque on his shoulder, elbow. The way the hand follows through. No wonder so many pitchers get to go see doctors in the offseason.
Puig made his debut. The Cuban Missile is what they're calling him. Back on June 3rd. And in that time, 376, 11 home runs, 77 hits. That's what stands out for me. 77 hits since June 3rd as he spins away from a fastball up and in for ball one.
.38-17 since joining the Dodgers. 14 straight road games you mentioned. And interesting, Puig hit a very kind of normal 286 in the month of July. That shows just how good his June was. Bo Hart-like.
376, whatever it is. Yeah, 376 coming into play. Is hit back and foul. Anytime you mention Bo Hart, first month of a major league season, you know you put up some numbers.
And the difference with Bo Hart, and fans will say, well, you know, is Puig going to be like Bo Hart? The answer is no. I can tell you that right now. First of all, people didn't know Bo was not going to be able to hit the curveball because the word didn't get out, and he didn't come with all the promise in the detailed reports that a Puig would have. So you might adjust a little bit on how you pitch Puig, but he is really a can't-miss prospect with a very high ceiling.
Last time that we saw the Dodgers, we thought Don Mattingly would be fired. The talk was that weekend at Dodger Stadium they were preparing to let him go. Ned Colletti was in trouble, the GM. Well, since that time they've gone 41-21. Best mark during that time. Cardinals 33-28. Time is called. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Standing next to Don Mattingly at the batting cage in L.A. and kind of looked over, and Ned Colletti was talking to, I'm going to say, 50 reporters. And in the sense, you know, standing next to Don, realizing that's not a good thing when your GM is over there answering questions about you, and in some sense about himself as a general manager. But it was a highly pressurized situation in L.A. A lot of folks calling for Don Mattingly to move on, but he's just done a terrific job.
This would be the team I don't think many franchises around baseball would want to face come postseason play. Kershaw and Greinke at the top of their rotation. Goodbye. What a strike with that breaking ball for Wainwright. First K of the night. The St. Louis lineup led by Matt Carpenter, then Beltran and Craig, Holiday, Freeze, Jay, Cruz, Descalso, and Wainwright. Zach Greinke, the right-hander. Rick gets the start.
Again, looking for victory number 100 in his career. He's a big-time winner. And it's kind of interesting to me that he hasn't kind of stuck with one club and stayed there. I think part of the problem is he's so good and so expensive that teams kind of get to a point where they kind of give up on him and see what they can get for him. But maybe he's found a home in Los Angeles. Dodgers, by the way, have not won a world championship since 1988.
And you were part of that squad.
Long time ago.
So here is Matt Carpenter. 2 pitches, catching the outside corner. And Carpenter, for an 8-game stretch, went 2 for 35. And then yesterday broke out of it, nearly hit a grand slam, and was 2 for 5 in the win. You mentioned the key, I think, with Zach Greinke, at least one of them. Expensive, but the Dodgers don't seem to worry about that, do they?
Not right now. No, they've got a lot of expensive players. Think about when we were out in LA last, there was talk that what was going on with the Angels mirrored what was going on with the Dodgers. A lot of money spent without much in return, but I think the Dodger fans would disagree with that now. They're starting to see how their investment is starting to pay off.
Count runs to 2 balls and 2 strikes on Carpenter. And he drives it out to deep right center field. This ball is off the wall. Carpenter on his way to second, misplay. Now on his way to third. In there safely.
Carpenter hits this ball a ton. Gets back in the count after being down 0-2. That pitch in the middle of the plate. And here's Puig with the cannon of an arm, but he isn't able to make that play. That's his 4th error of the season. Very alertly, Matt Carpenter, and he had to do that all on his own. He had to see that in front of him and make that dash towards third, and he is in scoring position for Carlos Beltran.
Guy like Greinke, you have to make him pay. Here's Beltran. Takes a fastball up and in. 93 miles an hour. Carlos at 302. 19 home runs. 58 RBIs. One-0 pitch. Hit to short. Coming home. Carpenter is safe. That play took a while to develop. Nick Punto was playing back, assuming that you're giving them the out and the run.
Well, a bad jump by Carpenter, I think, made Punto think he had a shot at getting him at the plate. The ball hit fairly hard by Beltran, but it was an odd play. Normally with the infield back, you go on contact right away, and not the greatest of jumps. He kind of waits. He hasn't gone yet. And so Punto sees that and thinks maybe I have a shot at getting him, but the high throw is an errant one. And not a good break. It's almost like he's explained to Matheny, I thought it was a line drive. I didn't see it well off the bat. And either way, the Cardinals get a break and take an early lead.
If the throw is on the money and at home plate, I think he's out.
I agree.
So a couple of defensive lapses here in the first inning behind Greinke. The first 2 have reached, and now it's Craig. And Allen hits it out to center field. Catch made by Ethier. Beltran tagging up to second base. In there safely. That's a play in game 2 of the doubleheader against Pittsburgh that the Pirates turned the trick on the Cardinals, and that proved to be the game-winning run.
That extra base can be huge. You can score on a base hit from there, so Beltran notices that ball's carrying deep. And just enough speed left in that body of his to make it from first to second. Good outfield arms. Ethier throws well. He has 7 assists. We've already talked about Puig's arm and right being very, very strong. Cardinals showing some life here in the first.
And now it's Holiday who's hitting 278. And pitch is taken low. Holiday, the 13 home runs. He's driven in 53 to go along with that 278 average. One ball, one strike with one out and a runner at second base. One pitch. Holiday rips it. Center field at the wall, and it's caught. A line shot off the bat of Holiday, and Andre Ethier makes the play. He's playing very deep. This is a good defensive club. They pulled everything together. When you look at Carl Crawford, his speed and left, Ethier 7 outfield assists. You talked about Puig and right with a strong arm. Juan Uribe down at third, only 3 errors at third base. Punto at short. Ramirez is hurt. Mark Ellis only 5 errors. Gonzalez and then Ellis behind the plate has caught 19 of 43. So defensively, they've really put things together.
All 4 Cardinals have hit the ball hard against Greinke in inning number 1. Not really fooling anybody yet. And we like, Dan, the way David Freese has been swinging the bat.
Really taking a lot of pitches with authority to right center.
He's used the word confident in terms of his approach. He's acting like he's going to just attack the ball instead of kind of a defensive emergency swing. And we've seen a lot of those balls, as you mentioned, go to right center, and the power seems to be coming back.
Here's an 0-1 pitch. Now it's 0-2.
I love our vantage point here at the UMP Champions Club down the left field line, and when I get a chance to go to a Cardinal game where I'm not working, and we did that, or I did that in Atlanta in the last day there, I like to sit in all kinds of different seats at the ballpark because the game takes on a little bit different feel. And so this is fun for me, Dan, for us to be down the left field line and enjoying Cardinal baseball.
0-2 pitch to Freese. Puts it in play, slowly hit towards third. Uribe gets David Freese. The Cardinals, though, strike first. Carpenter scoring the lone run after an inning of play. It's 1-0 St. Louis. the LA Dodgers, and clearly this is one of the better pitching matchups in baseball. But the big news concerning MLB, the 50-game suspensions handed out, and these are the biggest names of those that were suspended. 50 games, no appeal. Nelson Cruz, Everett Cabrera, Peralta of Detroit, Bastardo, very good lefty of the Phillies, been arguably their best relief pitcher this year. So well, terrible news.
And certainly kind of a tough day for baseball to have to swallow this pill, but they behaved themselves into it. And glad baseball, Dan, is kind of being aggressive with it today. And, you know, that's going to affect some playoff races and some pennant races. Bastardo is a name that I was not aware was on that list. The Phillies kind of on the cusp as whether or not they're going to be a good team or not. And that's certainly hurts them and can affect things in the National League over the next couple of months.
This is Andre Ethier as he pulls it foul. How about Valdespin, who has had a rough time of it with his manager, his teammates, and he was on that list, and a name that I had not heard prior to those names being released. And I'm sure folks at home are saying, wait a minute, you had 4 guys up there. Where's the big guy? A-Rod. We'll get to that in just a moment.
A little different story for him. You know, you mentioned the players, how they respond to their teammate going through this. It doesn't just hurt the player, and it surely does monetarily, but if you miss a piece of your team in a pennant race, I mean, and you're a teammate, you got to be angry about that. And I think there's going to have to be a little bit more of a showing of that for players. I mean, they tend to support their own, which I get, but at some point when you're the Giants a year ago and you lose Melky Cabrera, now they ended up winning without him, but they had a chance to use him in the playoffs and they chose not to. They said, we don't want him. And that kind of a response from player to player, I think, is maybe what we need to kind of clean things up one step further.
Slap the other way, and not too far away from us. As Rick said, it's a very good vantage point we have down the third base line near the foul pole. The UMB Champions Club. It's our annual telecast from the club. The carving stations, all the free food and drink that you can take home with you and also enjoy here tonight.
Dan, we're not going to belabor the biogenesis story, and there we are. You can wave at everybody, but I think it's something we have to talk about. Mike Matheny used the words epic and monumental talking about this day in baseball because of what's happened. I don't think we can ignore it. Certainly kind of a lump that baseball is going to have to deal with, and baseball's been through that before. And to just ignore it wouldn't be appropriate either. Of course, we've got a nice ball game going on here that we're going to be focused on as we continue from here. But for folks who hadn't heard, this is a story worth getting caught up on.
You were part of the Players Association. You were a rep.
I was.
And I think it's safe to say, and you know better than I, but now more than ever, there is at least agreements on many subjects that before wouldn't even be touched between Major League Baseball and the Players Association, and maybe first and foremost PEDs and drugs and those kind of things that would have an invasion of privacy, so to speak.
Well, within the union back 30 years ago, there were certainly some hardline guys, and the subject of drug testing came up in the 80s and 90s. I was a part of a number of meetings on that. Some of the hardliners said no, but that was different drugs they were talking about at that point. Recreational drugs, still bad for you and not the right choice, but people were arguing over privacy issues. Nice play by the Cardinals second baseman Matt Carpenter, but right now, Dan, it's affecting play. When you've got a player that's performing better, and you know that's just not right for baseball, and I think the players are starting to warm to the idea of getting more serious about it.
Suspended through 2014 and 211 games. That will begin on Thursday. Apparently A-Rod is in the lineup tonight. Yankees playing at the Chicago White Sox, and Joe Girardi said yesterday that he would put A-Rod in the lineup, and apparently he is tonight. I threw this out on Twitter last night as Ellis, the catcher, looks at a strike. How are some of these guys going to pitch to A-Rod? Is he going to get it high and tight, little chin music? Is he going to take one in the ribs? How do you think they approach him?
Well, I think all that's possible. I think it's more important, though, how do his teammates react to him? Are you just, hey, that's great, hey, no big deal? And while the Yankees are, by the way, having a bad season, partly because he's hurt, which he couldn't control necessarily, but But all of this circus around this Yankee team, how can you enjoy that as a manager and as a player? And beyond that, how do the Yankee fans respond?
How about the fans at Chicago tonight? Can you imagine that reception he's going to get? Here's a 2-1 pitch. A fly ball that's hit out to shallow center. John Jay is there. One of the unique aspects of doing the game from this vantage point, which is completely different than what we normally do because we're situated behind home plate, but to see the jumps that the outfielders get.
Just thinking that, watching that play by John Jay, when we watch it from our normal vantage point, and if folks are behind home plate, let's say, or even whatever deck you're in, you have no sense of just how much ground a center fielder has to cover. And, you know, there's John Jay. There's a good look at that. And that ball kind of in shallow center field. He also supposed to catch the ball up against the center field wall. That's a pretty good run in both directions.
See how spacious this is, the jumps that they get.
So why does your center fielder have to be fast?
Well, we're seeing it right here. Here's your Uribe, 1-0 pitch. Rick, there's so many facets that go into the A-Rod decision. The Chevy Fox Tracks legacy of Bud Selig, part of it. Why not a lifetime ban? It's off the glove of Freeze into shallow left, tracked down by Descalso, and Uribe is aboard. Third hit for the Dodgers.
Well, there are a lot of factors in this, and it's not simple. And
money.
Money is always
number one.
You want to follow the money, and it's not just the players' money; it's the owners' money, it's MLB's money. It's, you know, follow the money. But and legacy, of course, part of it. And you'd hope that doing the right thing is part of it. And moving forward, addressing it appropriately, which I think baseball's trying to do. And the only thing I would say, Dan, and I just hesitate to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway, is if we think that one guy in one place with 12 clients is the end of the road, I think we're being naive.
I think it's a fair statement. Balco, now Biogenesis. What's next?
Some other name we don't know yet. I hate to say that.
Nick Punto, the switch hitter, the shredder, back in St. Louis. And a game-winning hit, they would pile on. You better watch out for Nick Punto. He was going to shred your jersey.
Did he ever get Jim Hayes' shirt? I think he did.
I think he did. Yep. Remember Jim walking into Tony La Russa's office and Tony looking up very stoically and just said, "Shredder, huh?"
Kind of do remember that.
Gotcha. That was it. There's a ground ball and a forced play at second base.
You buy him a new one?
It all comes down to money, as you said, Rick.
Follow the money.
Follow the money. Fans that purchase a special themed ticket get a limited edition Star Wars t-shirt. It'll have Fred Bird and Darth Vader on it. Rick is pumped. Nelly night tomorrow. Star Wars on Wednesday. Apparently he wants to dress up as Princess Leia. And that'll be at cardinals.com/theme. So we're excited about it.
Good thing I don't say everything I'm thinking. Oh boy. And here's another time.
The Rallioti is exploded, Rick.
I know.
It's John Jay, Cruz, and Descalso. Jay is hitting .260. Cardinals lead it 1-0. 1 ball, 1 strike. Boy, that's a nasty pitch. 87. Bottom just dropped out of it.
Outstanding changeup to John Solo. Can't believe I just said that. You totally get geeked out by this, don't you?
I do. I think it's great. Can't help it. It's like you when I announced the Nelly promo. You start dancing.
I do.
And so you start dancing, and you're going to say I'm geeking out over Star Wars. And you really, literally, you start dancing.
That's true. I do.
2-2 pitch. Ooh, a high strike, and John Jay called out on strikes in the first K of the night for Zach Greinke.
Looks like perhaps a generous strike here. It does catch the inside corner, also the top of the strike zone. Greinke has a plus fastball. We've already seen that very good changeup that he possesses as well. Now, he's certainly a top-of-the-line pitcher. The Dodgers have more than just Zach Greinke, though. We're going to see Clayton Kershaw in Game 2, Ryu in Game 4, Nolasco. I mean, they're 4 very, very good starters at the top of their rotation. There's not a number 4 in that group.
Strike at the knees to Tony Cruz. Saw him in St. Louis. The lefty Rick Honeycutt finished up with the Cardinals. Good staff that has been put together by Don Mattingly, and many of those were with Joe Torre. And 2 strikes on Cruz.
Not only a group of good coaches, but some very good players in their own right. Tim Wallach is their third base coach, and Davey Lopes their first base coach. Very, very good players. We know Honeycutt had a nice career, and Mark McGwire wasn't a bad hitter himself. And how about their manager? Maybe one of the best young players that I have seen in 30 years. I'm talking about how good he was when he was 20, 21, Don Mattingly.
And baseball.
And I would think he would have an awful lot of good advice, direction, caution, encouragement for a player like Puig.
You would also have to think that he'd be able to weather the media storm in Los Angeles with everything that he went through as a player with the Yankees.
Piece of cake.
Yeah. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Tony Cruz from Evansville, Indiana. If you check out the Purple Aces, go to a men's basketball game, all of a sudden you look up, Don Mattingly is there. Good old Evansville, Indiana, which is Cardinal country. For most.
Understood.
Greinke for a while really an enigma, a high draft choice of the Kansas City Royals. Dealt with some personal issues. Then he put it all together and has continued that trend of winning baseball despite the fact that he pitched on some very poor teams in Kansas City. The 3-2 to Cruz. Ground ball slowly hit. Punto charging and gets Cruz.
Greinke had very similar issues to Joey Votto. We were just in Cincinnati. We'll take one more look at that play. A high bouncer. Punto had to hurry and did. But both Votto and Greinke had really kind of a performance anxiety issue. Each of them had kind of something that's become more and more prevalent. The high stakes of being a professional athlete, the pressure, the microscope they're under, and some guys just have trouble dealing with that.
2 down, and here's Descalso. .275 home runs, 30 RBIs. Swung the bat well and getting another start here tonight at shortstop. Ground ball hit to Punto. Makes the play. Cardinals go 1-2-3. Zach Greinke leads it off when we come back to Busch Stadium. Big at a participating Jack in the Box with Jack's really big chicken sandwich combos for only $3.99 plus tax, and by 5-hour energy shots. We're at the Champions Club in St. Louis. Young Tyler is about 10 feet away from our very own Jim Hayes. Why isn't Tyler in that shot, Jim?
It just didn't block out right, Dan. I do have some news to get to, and then we'll show my son Tyler. It's about Chris Carpenter, who was talking to reporters before the game. He said he has not resumed throwing, and he's not optimistic he can resume pitching this season. He says 2014 is a more likely scenario if he can make his way back. Of course, Carpenter would be a free agent next season. John Mozeliak told reporters before the game that he feels Carpenter deserves a conversation about remaining a Cardinal if he can make it back. For the time being, he says Carp has to get healthy, and that's a look at my son Tyler, who loves the Champions Club. He loves it, Dan.
Obviously, got those looks from Mama. Zach Greinke. So tough news on the move there with Carpenter not knowing clearly about this year. It looks like to be a lost season. Credit him for trying to come back, not just taking the money and running, which many athletes would do, and you just don't know about next season.
I would think there are not very many Cardinal fans that expected anything different from Chris Carpenter. If you're around him at all, you know trying is not a problem, and putting in the extra work and effort and being professional about it, and he's going to do everything he can to be what he's supposed to be, and I really give him credit for that. He has a tenacity about him that you don't see in every player. And I'm not sure every player is geared that way. I mean, you could fake it, but Chris Carpenter's not faking it. That's just who he is. He is a tenacious competitor, kind of born to pitch.
It's tapped foul by Greinke. Hitting .400. No home runs, 2 RBIs. Tonight we've seen the Cardinals turn a double play. St. Louis has had a very good collective ground ball rate, nearly 50%, just behind the Pirates. So that's why they turn so many double plays. One of the reasons why. Here's a 2-2 up and into Greinke. May remember Zach Greinke had some choice words while with the Milwaukee Brewers, in particular about the aforementioned Chris Carpenter. You just wonder if that's in the back of Adam Wainwright's mind.
Did not see any sign from the bench there from Chris. By the way, he can hit too. Got to keep him honest.
Wainwright strikeout for Adam Wainwright.
Wainwright, one of those guys too, Dan, who's a tenacious competitor. Slightly different than Carpenter, but you know he just gets locked in when it's game time. He will fool around a little bit. He does his little high fives and his handshakes, and he's not afraid to be goofy every once in a while in the Cardinal dugout when he's not pitching. But he's all business on game day.
Top of the lineup and a good breaking ball to Crawford, who singled first time up.
Think about guys that have worn Cardinal uniforms that have frustrated fans from time to time. I'll mention a couple guys that I really like personally and think they were great players, but J.D. Drew and Colby Rasmus, 2 guys that you wouldn't say reminded you of Chris Carpenter at all in terms of the way they played on the field. But again, you can't make them be Chris Carpenter either. I think it's just difficult to kind of push somebody to be somebody that they're not, and you just hope as a manager and a coach to get the best out of them.
I don't know many that are on that level of Chris Carpenter.
Right.
0-2 pitch. And just because a guy doesn't act like Chris Carpenter doesn't mean that he's not as intense as Chris Carpenter.
Exactly right. That's a very good point.
However, with Carpenter, I think you knew where he stood. You knew when he was upset. You knew when he was intense, mad.
I believe the Cardinals have a very relaxed looking, intense player on the field right now, and he's playing left field. Matt Holliday.
2 strikeouts in the inning and 3 tonight for Wainwright. Fox Sports 1 is coming, and the Fox Sports girls are on a cross-country road trip to celebrate. 13 girls from around the country will be in St. Louis tailgating before Sunday's game at the outfield at Mike Shannon's. Also raffling World Champions memorabilia to benefit the USO of Missouri. Help the USO meet the girls this Sunday. Follow their journey on foxsports.com/road to lunch. April 17th, August 17th, Fox Sports 1 will launch. Here's Ellis, who grounded into a double play. Quickly, no balls and 2 strikes. Talked about it the other night. Wayno's World, the charitable endeavor that Adam has started up. Fantasy football, August 23rd. You can sign up, waynosworld.com. Look at a handwritten letter that he has for those that want to participate. And his brother Trey was telling me that some of the items that they have, tickets to the All-Star game, a chance to go to a Super Bowl, Daytona 500 for the winners. So there's 44 spots available, waynosworld.com. That's taken low, and it's Wainwright, Craig, Freeze, Holiday, 44 spots, fantasy football. If you sign up on August 23rd, Adam takes you on the field, personal tour of the ballpark. Then the draft will be held that day. You're on the field for BP. waynosworld.com. And it's selling very quickly. They're closing in on being sold out. WaynosWorld.com. We're at the UMB Champions Club tonight. Six is a serious number. Very, very soon, will it be John Jay who appears in the On the Run commercial, or will it be one of the many other players who have been providing St. Louis with 50-cent drinks? Either way, keep texting the word 6 to 55155 to get great deals at On the Run even after the season ends. So here is Adam Wainwright, and he looks at a ball. Just had a couple of people text us and also email us and also tweet at us wondering about that charity. WaynosWorld.com. August 23rd, the draft will be held, and really neat experience being provided by Adam and his teammates. Goes to help feed those that need help here in St. Louis, and also providing clean water for those that don't have it in Africa. Been involved with charities that have done that in the past. As Wainwright hits a fly ball into right, Puig is over, better hurry up, and he makes the catch. Speaking of Yasiel Puig, which player are you most excited about seeing? It's our AT&T Twitter poll.
Pretty good answers here.
Schumacher, Kershaw.
Kershaw, one of the game's best pitchers. Left-hander is always tough. Schumacher, of course, a hard vote there, and Puig, rising star, just 22 years of age. I'll be interested how our fans vote on this one.
Skip got off to a very slow start, but he's picked it up since early May. And Skip wasn't the only one, was he, Rick? It's a team that, I'll tell you what, entire team was cold at the beginning of the season.
It was tough. We've seen Skip like that before, where he's had a bad kind of start and then turned it around. And, you know, we all wish Skip well. He was on our pregame show and was talking to Jim Hayes about how hard it is for him to root against Adam Wainwright. And he said, well, what are you thinking about the fan reaction to you being here, Skip? He said, well, I'm really just focusing on how I get myself to the place where I can root against my buddy Adam.
What a catch out in center field. Andre Ethier takes a hit away from Matt Carpenter.
Just barely gets the glove underneath the baseball before it hits the ground there in center field. And I mean just barely. Plaza Tire Service replay. Almost looked as if the ball bounced up inside of his glove a bit. He had to kind of squeeze it to hold on. He's a very sure-handed center fielder.
And now it's Beltran with a fly ball. Out to deep right. Puig is back. He won't make the catch. Beltran on his way to second base. It's one of the biggest medallions I've ever seen a player wear.
He's checking out the replay board just to see, how close he was. Why didn't I catch that ball? He's learning a bunch of fields too. Not a lot of experience at the big league level. Very close to running that down, and I agree 100%. That is a big medallion.
Intriguing story. Any of these guys, Puig, Fernandez, Cespedes, any of these players, you just have to respect the fact that they are even here. Those that have broken away from Cuba and done so and painstakingly done it in remarkable fashion.
Escobar is the story that I think I heard the most. Yunel Escobar really being on a boat for, I believe it was 21 days before being kind of rescued, and just what he had to deal with just to go from A to B.
They've got my respect no matter what they do. Between the white lines. So 2 outs and a runner at second base. Alan Craig is flied out to deep center. Puig's story is one that's still being uncovered a bit, and he does not want to talk about it.
Right. I can respect that.
Regardless, here he is. And Craig is hit by the pitch. Message set. Maybe so.
Yeah, I don't have much doubt he's throwing up and in to Alan Craig right here, and Greinke's had some issues with that already. Wainwright threw one up and in on Greinke
and Puig,
and I think he's trying to say, if you want to play that, I'll play along with you, but I'm not sure we're done with that yet. Hit him right on Stan Musial. Patch worn on the left sleeve. Certainly will bruise there.
You know what, though? That's part of the game. I mean, Wainwright has gone up and in on a couple of their guys, and he went up and in on Craig.
Part of the game, and it's not over yet.
And by the way, this is early on in game 1 of 4.
Right. Two very competitive teams with a lot to play for.
Late with that swing, 95 miles an hour.
Temperatures fairly cool tonight for St. Louis in August, but we are in the traditional dog days of August where teams start to kind of wear down a little bit. You've kind of had a long season already. There's a lot to go. Pressure's starting to mount a bit. The weather is normally hot, and sometimes the tempers of the players go right along with it.
Two on, 2 outs. 1-1 pitch. Good rip by Holiday, and it's fouled back. Last 7 starts against St. Louis. 1.88 ERA. Again, we're at the UMB Champions Club tonight. Great place to take in a game. If you haven't done so before, we advise you to get a ticket. Do it. All the food and drinks included. In and outdoor seating. 1-2 pitch. Holiday puts it in play off the glove of Greinke. Tough here for Punto. Barehanded attempt, and everybody is safe. Base hit. Matt Holiday.
Cardinals get a break here. Back up the middle. Greinke knocks it down. Maybe it's not a break. Would have been a base hit anyway. Puto tries to barehand it. And I agree with you, Dan, that there's nothing wrong with throwing a ball up and in, part of the game, sending a message. But what can sometimes happen is you end up getting yourself in trouble with that.
Open up a big inning.
You hit a guy, he's on base. Next thing you know, there are people running all over the place, and maybe you're wishing you hadn't.
Here's Freeze, who grounded out to third. First time up. And he looks at a ball at 95. The Phantom Cam. Well, it's a great look, isn't it? Just trying to put the ball in play. You could see that the right hand was coming off the bat slightly.
You could see that balance was not very good on that particular pitch, which happens, but he still had enough hand strength and hand-eye coordination to still get a good piece of the baseball and drive it up the middle.
So 42 pitches tonight. You're a numbers guy, Rick. 3 times 14.
I believe that is 42.
There you go.
You've been practicing.
I have, ever since our trip home.
Is that a calculator I see?
Oh, man.
Oh, your kids are here helping you.
The 4-year-old twins. Two balls and no strikes on David Freeze. Good rip and fouled back.
That's the confident swing that we've been talking about with David Freeze. Hey, if you're going to miss it, let it go. Pitch is in on him. Tough pitch to handle, but still a confident swing by David.
Two outs, bases loaded, 2-1 pitch. Freeze up the middle, and Ellis will step on the bag. Cardinals strand, the bases loaded. St. Louis on top after 3. 1-0. App for live baseball. Text @bat to 31826 or visit Cardinals.com for details. A look at the UMB Champions Club. Hey, the red light is on. That means we're on. Go! Al's Fan Club. And Al Raboski has joined us. Hello, Al.
Where you been, partner?
Well, you were on the radio side. We were doing things on TV over here. And the Cardinals had a little losing streak, but they have turned things around and lead this ball game 1-0 as Gonzalez looks at a ball from Wainwright.
And they've had a few opportunities in this one against Greinke, but really, other than the first inning run, haven't capitalized.
Gonzalez, Puig, and Ethier. Adrian Gonzalez with a single his first time up. 2 balls, no strikes. Amazing how LA has turned things around from when you and Rick were out in LA. That wasn't that long ago, and it looked like changes were coming.
You're right, Dan. The talk that weekend was that Don Mattingly wouldn't survive that weekend. And lo and behold, upper management and ownership trusted him, and they've been richly rewarded. But he really got his injured players back.
Wainwright all over the plate, but doesn't get a call, and he walks Gonzalez to start the 4th. Pennant race in the Central Division is heating up, and August features key matchups with the Pirates and the Reds. You can get $8 tickets courtesy of McDonald's. $8 tickets. Pirates will be here on the 13th, 14th, and 15th. The Reds in late August. McDonald's.com and Cardinals.com. You'll see Puig, and he struck out on a breaking ball first time up and takes that pitch inside, and Wainwright's trying to figure out the strike zone. And so are we. 5 straight balls to start this inning, and a number of those pitches look good. Cardinals start game and a half back, and what a big weekend series that was, Al, by taking 2 of 3 against Cincinnati.
Well, they had to do that just for their own psyche, and they got their bats healed up, and now they're taking on a very tough Dodger team. June 21st, they were a season worst 12 games under 500.
Pitch taken high, and that's a rarity. 6 straight balls thrown by Wainwright. I don't know about you, but I thought a number of those pitches here in this inning were strikes.
I got to tell you, Dan, being at the UMB Champions Club, I haven't seen a pitch.
Great insight, huh?
Fans are having a good time, and my hand is worn out, and I'd like to see this strike zone that you tell me is all over the place.
Just this inning, it's been consistent, I thought, up until previous at bat. 2 balls and no strikes here on Puig.
Not like you want to do it against the heart of their order, all of a sudden not know where the strike zone is with the power hitters coming up.
Struck out looking on a breaking ball first time up, and hits it out to deep right center field. It's off the base of the wall. Gonzalez on his way to third. He'll stop there, and Puig is in with a double.
Don't be rooting for him now, Dan.
No, sir.
Very talented young player. They know he can hit. And on the base paths, he's somewhat of an adventure, and even in the outfield. But this is what his strength is, and that's hitting the ball and out to right center. I think there's a couple balls in this game being hit by the Cardinals and by Puig that on a typical summer night in August with the normal heat that we would have, they'd be out of here.
So the first 2 have reached. It's some trouble here for Wainwright. Here's Andre Ethier lined out to second, and he's 0 for 1. With Wainwright's stuff, you know he's got a chance to get out of just about any jam. That'll drop in for a base hit into right. 1 run is in. Puig is held up, and a strong throw from the right fielder, Carlos Beltran.
I thought the way Carlos has been playing offensively is just a doubles machine. But there he keeps the tie game intact. don't get rewarded. Just shatters the bat, and Ethier just hits it down the right field line. But a real nice play. The speedster Pugh on there at third base. They hold him up. Eli Wallach. Tim Wallach was his nickname Eli, third base coach, and a fine player he was during his major league career.
Now it's A.J. Ellis. See how the Cardinals want to defend this. They'll hold the runner at first. The middle infield is in a step or two. David Freese just about even with the bag. Runners at the corners and still nobody out, and a breaking ball is called for a strike. Ellis fly to center, first time up. Got to figure that runs are at a premium here tonight with these two on the mound.
And Adam Wainwright trying to figure out what's going on. His last start, he lost 3 2-run leads. Very uncharacteristic.
I thought during the stretch of losses that was the toughest one for the Cardinals, simply for that fact. Ace on the mound and the leads that he was given but couldn't hold them. 0-1 pitch. Popped up, and that'll find the seats out of play.
Both these starters have very good numbers against their order they're playing against. Wainwright a 1.19 ERA against the Dodgers here in this ballpark. And Greinke 6-1 with 7 quality starts and ERA under 2 in his last 7 starts against the Cardinals.
Strikeout here and then get your double play. The Cardinals have turned 1 tonight. There's your grounder out there on to first and safe. Run scores and it's 2-1 LA.
Well, he wasn't hit hard enough to be a typical double play, but a very close play at first base, and the catcher A.J. Ellis beats it out. Little pitch back to Carpenter, but it just wasn't hit hard enough to the shortstop Descalzo, and I thought the naked eye that he was out.
I did too.
I was a little surprised Mike Matheny didn't argue, but it goes to no vein.
Now it's Uribe. Single back in the second inning. After watching the replay, I definitely thought he was out. Cruz sets up outside, and it's taken low. 2 balls and no strikes.
Uribe really struggled the last couple years, but it's his walk year and having a much better season at third base for the Dodgers.
It's amazing how that happens.
There's no correlation at all.
Of course not. Now it's a double play. 6-4-3 with the double play. The Dodgers not only get on the board, but they take their first lead of this series 2-1. /theme. Al Raboski is with us. Rick Horton, Dan McLaughlin. 2-5-1 for the Dodgers. 1-3-0 as we move to the bottom of the fourth for St. Louis. John Jay, Tony Cruz, Daniel Descalso. Al, I haven't had a chance to ask you, but you know, when you look at the Cardinals during that losing skid, was it a way that they were being pitched, or was it just one of those odd things that can happen in baseball where a team collectively, offensively, can go south?
Well, first of all, that was the odd part, that everybody went south. Normally, you're going to have 2 or 3 hot hitters, 2 or 3 guys that are struggling, but what I saw mostly was them swinging over the top of breaking pitches, change-ups, everything that was down, and really some good low ball hitters were doing that. You know, Alan Craig, and they just weren't swinging at their strikes. But boy, when they got it straightened out, they did.
That's the other thing. The flip side is that you had a historic run of futility, and then you had 4 games in which you score 44 runs.
And remember, even the second to last game in the Wednesday night, I think it was in Pittsburgh, you know, we got 13 hits but stranded 11 and only scored 4 runs in that ball game. And you're going to have, that's going to happen over the course of the year, but it was just shocking to see everybody struggle at the same time.
1 ball and 2 strikes. John Jay, who struck out his first time up. You know that this club offensively too good to have a run that would continue like it was going in Pittsburgh. And then in Cincinnati, the Cardinals take 2 of 3, and they did so just pounding the Reds as Jay lines it into right field for a base hit.
See if the Cardinal bats can't respond to the 2-run inning, 4th inning for the Dodgers. Another aspect is the Cardinals only are trailing Pittsburgh by a game and a half, but they're going to have to start showing a better record against winning teams.
So most runs in a 4-game span. Cardinals did that most recently in 2011, and then 44 they put together here in 2013. Prior to that, 1946. I'm curious to see how the Reds bounce back after what took place this weekend. Now, they have been a club that's banged up, but that's a team that a lot has been expected of as you get a look at the Phantom Cam and the base hit by Jay. But you know, Cincinnati just really nothing going right for them in that series, with the exception of game 2 as Cruz hits it out of play.
Well, Dan, it's obvious they're missing 2 big bullets in their bullpen, Marshall and Broxton.
Yeah, yep.
So there are 2 of their guys that when they get them back, and they'll get Broxton back in about a week. You know, one of those arms that the Cardinals beat up on will be back in the minor leagues. So the good thing with baseball is you play every day, and you can have a bad week, 10 days, and you can recover the next week or 10 days.
No balls and 2 strikes. Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks.
Good tailing action on that pitch. Started away. Tony Cruz gave up on it, tailed back to the strike zone. Greinke is down. He is very, very tough. You know, it's the old adage, you try to get him to elevate his pitches, then to become much more hittable. But right now he's pitching so well and keeping the ball down, and if you hit it well, a lot of times you're just pounding at the ground.
One-two pitch. Taken a bit low and outside. Another one of those borderline pitches that goes the way of the hitter, this time in favor of St. Louis.
you're right about this weather. Tremendous for this time of year here in St. Louis. Doesn't get much better than right now. 2-2 pitch. Doesn't chase. Full count.
I talked to Rick Honeycutt about, you know, giving everybody in the rotation an extra day. They had 5 pitch yesterday and pitched very well, and they won their 14th consecutive road game. But he said one of the reasons why they planned to give that off day was expecting to come into St. Louis with the heat here in 4 days, and it hasn't materialized. But he said we'll probably do that one more time to set a rotation.
See how Mike Matheny wants to play it. 3-2 on Tony Cruz. You have Ellis, who's been very good throwing out base stealers.
Also have a strikeout pitcher on the mound. You want to send him, but it's a tough choice right now with you have somebody that could hit into a double play or strike him out, throw him out.
There he goes, and that's a base hit to the right. Jay on his way to third. Move pays off. Not only do you avoid the double play, but you start the runner. Scoots through the right side, and it's runners at first and third, nobody out.
Like Mark Ellis was playing awfully close to the second base bag. So with Jay running right here, the ball shot to the right side, nobody there, and John Jay can get over to third. Runners at first and third, nobody out. They've got to take advantage of this opportunity now.
No doubt.
Of course, the Dodgers are saying, well, you got 8th place Descalso, you got the pitcher spot up, so they can see their escape route. So it's up to the Cardinals, and really the key batter right here is Descalso.
Now it's Daniel Descalso. That's a foul ball. Descalso has grounded out to short. Again, the phantom cam taking this the other way.
You see how deep he makes contact. That ball was actually almost behind him, so he delayed that swing, trying to hit it to the right side to protect John Jay, who was running on the pitch.
One ball, one strike. Chance here for Daniel Descalso. Certainly has earned the playing time he's got. The 2-1. Daniel strikes out. Big strikeout for Greinke here. And there's one away here in the home half of the fourth.
Like to at least put it on play, but that little backdoor breaking ball never was a strike, but he gets a strikeout. Only a second for Greinke tonight. And Adam Wainwright has a chance to help his own cause. Kendall will come down and talk to him. we have a little bit of an advantage with a leadoff hitter and such a good RBI man as Matt Carpenter. Defensively, the Dodgers are going to get together and work on. And now Rick Honeycutt will join them. Talk about the different bunt plays.
Wainwright, first time up, flied out to right. Tying run is at third. Go ahead run at first. And interesting to see what transpired in this game already, as Adam Wainwright threw one high and tight to Puig, then high and tight to Zach Greinke. We just saw Alan Craig hit by a pitch. Different situation though if you're thinking about any kind of paybacks here, with runners at first and third and Wainwright at the plate.
I'd say the Cardinals would welcome.
Load him up.
Well, or do something in a wild pitch.
Adam showed bunt.
Part of that's that Dodger defense wants to see what he's going to do. But I'm sure with the lengthy conversation that Oquendo had, and as good a hitter as Wainwright is, if he sees now on this one, if they see they significantly charge from the corners, do the butcher boy play. Hit down on the ball, show bunt, but hit down on the ball.
Showing bunt, gets it down. Greinke looks back the runner. And advancing on the play, Tony Cruz. John Jay standing at third.
You can do that with Adam Wainwright because, as I said, you got a good RBI man in Matt Carpenter.
I'd counter that by saying you don't get many cracks at Zach Greinke, and Adam Wainwright can swing the bat.
It wasn't my favorite play because I think Adam Wainwright could have gotten that sac fly at the very least. Now,
Yep.
I'm sure Greinke would have bared down and shown him his absolute best, but now you are relying on Matt Carpenter to drive in both runners from scoring position.
So Carpenter with a double. And last time up, he was robbed by Ethier in center field.
Didn't you feel for Carpenter on that road trip before he broke out on
No doubt.
yesterday?
No doubt. Mention it. One point was 2 for 38. Highest average at home this year. Carpenter 366. Then Michael Kadire, McCutchen, Freddie Freeman, and Alan Craig. So the Cardinals with 2 of the top 5. Matt Carpenter with 55 driven in this year.
Also helps because he has such a good knowledge of the strike zone. If an umpire has an honest strike zone, and he pretty much will always put himself in position swinging at strikes.
Good chance here. 2 balls, 1 strike. Greinke can knock it on the same page as Ellis. Now time is called. This pitch right here, consistently last inning, top half, not called a strike with Wainwright to start the inning. That was with Gonzalez.
And it's called the strike for Greinke.
Yep. 2 outs, 2 on, 2-1 lead for the Dodgers, and a 2-2 pitch. Greinke to Carpenter. Here it comes. Struck him out. Gets out of the jam. and only at McDonald's. Adam Wainwright finishing his warm-up tosses. The Phantom Cam is in play tonight. This pitch from Wainwright to Puig. Look at the rotation.
Yeah. Spinning, you start seeing it drop a little elevation. Come on, come on. How could you not hit that?
What it doesn't show is that it's moving all over the place, and dancing, and the curveball, the pitch before that. Here's Nick Punto. By the way, Al, we were saddened to hear the news of Rick Pfeiffer passed away over the weekend. That is the father of Joe Pfeiffer, who has worked for a number of years here with the St. Louis Cardinals. So Joe doesn't miss a game, and I know he's been instrumental with the fantasy camp for years. Just want to pass along our condolences to the Pfeiffer family, and know that we're thinking about him with the passing of Rick Pfeiffer. And Joe, we'll see you down here very soon.
Ditto.
Punto, Greinke, and Crawford here in the 5th inning. Little fly ball hit down the left field line and a foul ball. I was curious the other day, Al. Big crowd, 70s at the old Busch Stadium. What would that be for when you were playing?
A big crowd?
Yeah.
Would have been 30s.
We've got that consistently now.
Yeah.
It's amazing the amount of people that are coming out to the ballpark.
My last year, playing in St. Louis was $1.8 million. It was total attendance.
Sure.
And you had, what, 55,000 seat stadium?
Right. As Punto hits that out of play again, and Cardinals are averaging well above 40,000 a night, trending towards 3.4 million for the season. Winning baseball, that'll do it for you. Great environment, good ballpark.
Promotion.
Yep.
And by the way, the promotions have gotten so much better.
Big deal that brought Nick Punto, Crawford, Gonzalez, Boston.
It's Gonzalez. You mentioned Gonzalez.
Josh Beckett also part of that deal, and Boston Red Sox dumped a lot of salary, retooled. It was just a disastrous season under Bobby Valentine, and now you look at what Boston has done this year, 68-45, and they lead the American League East by a game. The 2-2 pitch.
Punto's been around a long time now. He said, I can't fool anybody. They know what I am. And he's one of those guys that on your roster, probably the last one you think of, but knows how to play the game properly.
And a versatile player, too, as we saw in his time with Minnesota and certainly here with the Cardinals. And to me, he was the perfect player for a Tony La Russa type team. Switch hitter that could play all over the diamond.
And also had to understand and knew his role, that he wasn't an everyday player. Be ready at several different positions, help out as much as you can in the leadership role with the younger players, and just always be ready to play.
A 3-2 pitch taken just a bit low, and a walk. Second inning in a row that Wainwright has walked the leadoff man. Charter high-speed pitch of the night. Greinke, mid-90s. He's at 95, and Wainwright at 92. 2-1 game. We're broadcasting from the UMB Champions Club tonight. Dan McLaughlin, Al Raboski, Rick Horton with you. Jim Hayes as well.
Dan, when you see that 92, Adam can throw the ball harder. But that's that comfort zone he has, 92, 93 miles an hour, and has such great command with that. Having a two-walk night is rare.
And now you have Greinke, who was called out on strikes first time up. Here's a 1-0. Greinke can swing the bat. Came in hitting 400. He's at 389. And he's talked about it before that when he was in high school, as many of the professional baseball players are, whether they're a pitcher or not, were outstanding baseball players. And Greinke, we always talk about in the American League that he wanted to be a DH. He can swing the bat.
And they're saying right now he's on a good roll swinging the bat, but has to bunt here, and he gets it down.
Over to cover is Carpenter for the out, advancing Punto into scoring position.
We notice his form, but how low he got on those low pitches. Instead of just jabbing with his bat, he got down there with his knees and had that bat, 12 inches off the ground.
Signed the big contract in the offseason to come to the Dodgers. They're not afraid to pay anybody anymore, are they?
No, they're not.
Assume the contract of Crawford. He's 1 for 2 of the strikeout and bounces it to the right side, and it sneaks under the glove. Backing up Carpenter, nicely done. Very casually put away. No panic at all from Carpenter, and Wainwright covering the bag.
Well, we saw that yesterday a couple days ago with Lance Lynn not covering the bag, and then Carpenter was backing up Matt Adams in that case. Ball comes up a little bit, or Alan Craig's glove comes up a little bit, it slows it down, but there's Matt Carpenter and there's Adam Wainwright exactly where he needs to be. It is natural, and what happened with Lance Lynn when he saw Adams give up on the ball playing first base, he stopped. But Carpenter made a diving stop of that ball and then got up and would have thrown him out, but the pitcher wasn't covering. Adam was.
Blocked in the dirt by Cruz. Mark Ellis grounded into a 5-4-3 double play back in the first and has also flied out to center. 0 for 2. In a 297 with runners in scoring position.
Ellis had a 13-game hitting streak snapped on Saturday. Hit 404 during that time. Muscled up with a couple doubles, 2 home runs, and 8 RBIs.
Two balls and no strikes. Adrian Gonzalez is on deck.
This is the guy that Adam wants to go after.
Strike 2.
Look at Adam Wainwright, and the one pitch is his signature is the curveball, and yet his recent starts, including tonight, he just hasn't had that pitch. That'd be awful tough mentally to know when that's your best pitch and you don't have it. Still got to do the job.
Back to Wainwright, and he makes the play. Underhands to Craig. Midway through 5, Beltran, Craig, and Holiday due up. Cardinals, we're broadcasting live from the UMB Champions Club here at Busch Stadium. Dan and Al with you, and so is Rick Horton. Where do we find Rick Horton right now?
Well, Dan, I've got kind of some tough duty right now in the Champions Club. We are having a blast here. All the Cardinal fans are. I met these folks and have become fast friends with them. I know you and Al are taking care of the business at hand, and I'll be back here shortly, but I'm going to enjoy some more good food and some good times at the UMB Champions Club.
All right, Rick, thanks. Were those people props, or did we... Really? He found friends? Awesome.
Probably Twitter friends.
Definitely. Here's the 0-1 to Beltran. 0-2 the count. Beltran having words with the home plate umpire.
How about the doubles machine he's starting to turn into?
No doubt. Double back in the third. Reaching for it and hits it to second. MLB.com at bat, celebrating 5 years, is your #1 mobile app for live baseball. Available for iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry 10. Text at bat to 31826 or visit Cardinals.com for details. Alan Craig's been hit by a pitch, also flied out to deep center. What is it about Zach Greinke, Al, that makes him so tough? And you look at what he's done over the years, he's one of the best in baseball.
Well, first of all, he keeps it down around the knees and can throw all of his pitches, throw it for strikes, keeps them down there. So if you're even looking for it, you pound it right in the dirt. Try to get him up, and then he becomes a little more hittable. But like a lot of pitchers, after a while, you kind of get in a little bit of a groove. And I think, too, you know, he has that little mean streak, which works to his advantage.
0-2 pitch to Alan Craig. saw him with Milwaukee, and let's just say he wasn't a fan favorite.
Seems like most of the time he always has so much more success at home. This year he's pitched pretty good on the road also.
Numbers would bear that out. One of the toughest at his home ballpark. While with Milwaukee, it seemed like he never lost at home. Milwaukee traded him to the Angels. They got Gene Segura to come back, so wound up being a deal that has paid off. Segura, outstanding young shortstop for the Brewers.
Greinke's 28-3, ERA under 3 in his last 45 home starts.
The 2-2. That pitch was up and driven out to right center field. Exactly what you talked about.
Yeah, if you get the ball up, guys are going to have a little better swing. They're going to hit. They're going to get some air underneath it. It's going to be a line drive or get underneath it. Get the ball up, breaking ball, and now when Craig's eyes light up and just drills it towards right, goes with the pitch. For the most part, he doesn't walk a lot of people, and he keeps the ball in the ballpark with just 10 home runs.
Pitch number 76 of the night. Taken inside by Holiday. Fly to center. And also single. One-0 pitch. Get out of play. He's not a big guy, but Greinke throws hard. You saw on that Charter high-speed pitch, he hit 95. We've seen him hit previous starts 97, 98.
He's an athlete, and so much of scouting today is they want guys that are, look like robots, that are 6'6", get in the 250, 260 range, and they just don't move comfortably. They look awkward.
Popped up right side. Gonzalez with a play. 2 outs. Talking with Rick about this, the aggressive swings that we're now seeing from David Freese. Looks much better at the plate. Picked up the home run in Cincinnati, and I'm sure that was a monkey off his back.
What I liked about it is he started driving a few balls to the right side. That's when he stays on pitches. I thought his last time up he had a 2-0 count, and then he swung at a pitch up and in. He fouled it, but I mean, that's not a pitch that you can drive.
That's a pitch you can drive. He does that into right, and it's off the wall. Craig digging for third. Craig being waved in. Relay to the plate. He is out. Mr. Puig firing it back into the infield, and the relay and a strong throw to the plate. Bare hands it, turns and fires. Wow. Sports Network, and that will premiere August 17th, Fox Sports 1. Live look at the UMB Champions Club. Mr. Puig, raw talent, bare hand, and fired it back into the infield. The relay to the plate to perfection by LA.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that throw. I mean, he just had no idea where the cutoff man was. He hit the second one. Lucky, he just fires it in the air, and then it was right to Ellis, and Ellis, completes the throw and run into an out. I mean, Jose Oquendo is very aggressive. He'll tell you he'll get some people caught, but they're going to have to execute, and the Dodgers did.
And lost in that was David Freese, driving the baseball again opposite field. Here's Gonzalez, who has singled and walked and scored back in the fourth inning. Gonzalez, Puig, and Ethier. The 2-0 pitch. Puig stands on deck, and I think we've all been at least intrigued about the idea of seeing him come through St. Louis and what kind of talent this kid has. He can hit, we've heard that, and I use the word raw talent, and I think we're seeing some of that here tonight, Al.
Well, you see it, but the key word there is talent, and he can refine that as he'll go along in his major league career. But there's an awful lot of talent to work with. He's been an outstanding hitter. They say he runs the bases like Rex Hudler. That means you run until they tag you out.
Right.
He's got the great throwing arm, and he's always trying to fire it, not always using the best judgment, but it was a pretty good play there.
Strikeout of Gonzalez, and Wainwright picks up his fourth strikeout of the night.
Gonzalez didn't like it, but that's a perfect pitcher's pitch.
Puig is struck out. He was called out. Very good breaking ball back in the first inning. Doubled and scored in the fourth. Saw those ranks in the National League since he's come up. And without question, he's made a difference and lost in what the Dodgers have been able to do. Hanley Ramirez.
I was going to say,
he's reemerged.
He came off the DL at the same time and jumpstart the Dodgers. Looked like Hanley is having fun. He's excited about baseball again, and it just signifies he's one of the best players in the National League. But he got hurt yesterday or last night, and they actually brought up Deke Gordon, a young speedster, in case they were going to put him on the disabled list, but I don't think that has been. We're going to have an MRI today and see the results of that.
2-1 pitch to Puig. And unfortunately for the Van Slyke, Scott Van Slyke was optioned out before their game yesterday.
Yeah.
Would have been his first major league appearance playing baseball in St. Louis.
It'll happen sometime because he's made another very positive impression.
2 balls and 2 strikes, a 2-1 Dodger lead.
Curveball.
Got him. Gets him to chase that breaking ball, and Puig strikes out for the second time. We've known for years that StubHub is a great place to find the seats you want. See the Cardinals here at Busch Stadium or on the road. Head to StubHub and get your Cardinals tickets today. That includes tickets right here at the UMB Champions Club.
One of our favorite places when we're not working.
No doubt. That's up the middle to his left. Descalso. Nice play. Gets Ethier, so 1-2-3 inning for Adam Wainwright. 97.5. And What's on Tap brought to you by Budweiser. Rick and Al will have the call for you tomorrow night here on Fox Sports Midwest. And you'll get the chance to see Clayton Kershaw, sensational lefty of the Dodgers. I would have to say probably at the forefront of the Cy Young Award right now, that conversation, but still plenty of baseball left to be played.
And you saw those numbers that Cardinal hitters have done a pretty good job on him. Just 4-4 record and ERA that looks normal.
Here's an 0-1 pitch. John Jay with a strikeout and a single. That was back in the fourth. Cardinals got the first two on, and then Greinke got out of the jam. Here's a 1-1. Really one of the best opportunities for the Cardinals tonight. Runners on, then Descalso struck out. Wainwright with runners at first and third and one out, sacrificed, and then Carpenter struck out to end the inning. Check swing and a foul ball.
Last inning they would have had a nice runners at second and third with 2 outs and Jay up, but Kendo decided to push the envelope, and the Dodgers defense was equal to the test. But you got to start striking now because the Dodgers also have a very good bullpen. Dodgers have won 14 consecutive road games. A new franchise record for them.
That is so hard to do. Win on the road, but then much less to win 14. As Jay loses the bat, Greinke the strikeout. Let's check in with Jim Hayes.
Dan, a lot of folks wondering about Yadi. Yadier Molina has been getting treatment and resting his sprained right knee. He says the knee is feeling much better. He had a light catch today. He says he won't do any serious baseball-related activity for a few days. Yadi is eligible to come off the DL on the 15th. Yadi says he's optimistic he'll be ready to go by then. And Dan, I was going to ask Yadi what he thought of Rally Yodi, but I didn't. I think I'm going to leave that for you.
Rally Yodi as Cruz taps it foul. And Jim, let me follow up with another question. I know something that was talked about with Mike Matheny was Oscar Taveras. And where do we stand right now with Oscar and what's happening with that sore ankle?
Well, he's out for a little while, and they want to be very cautious with that ankle. He's got that ongoing ankle thing, and as I understand it, they're going to rest it for a while. Obviously, they would love to have him at some point this season, but I think they're going to err on the side of caution because that thing has been lingering.
And also, we understand that maybe he's going to take a little personal time, head to the Dominican for a family issue, and then hopefully get some at-bats in before we turn the page and say hello to September. You talk about a guy that maybe could add something to your team. That just may be Oscar Taveras. We don't know.
Well, I think it's very important that you see what he can do at this level just to help evaluate the Beltran situation. You know, because this is kind of a lost season, his first year at AAA, and I think you're kind of in the same boat that maybe you need to see him have a full half year at AAA next season. So all the more reason to re-sign Carlos Beltran.
Carlos Beltran maybe teaching right there with John Jay.
And that's a big part of why I really would love to see Carlos Beltran come back. Remember, he took Matt Carpenter up and showed him some video when he's going good, video when he was struggling. He 0 for 23.
Puig hustling in, and he makes the catch. Now, you've been on the radio side. We, of course, have been promoting the Star Wars night. Features Darth Vader and Fredbird on the shirt. We had a shot of Yadier Molina. There he is as Yodi. Well, the Cardinals started to play well, so we had Rally Yodi. Rally Squirrel was a couple years ago, so now we've got Rally Yodi. Rick is totally on board with that. He loves the idea, and I'm sure you do too.
Well, knowing Rick and his propensity to wear different outfits, I'm sure he will dress up in some type of fashion that night. That's coming up, right? And tomorrow, you know, how am I going to be able to survive with Nelly at the park and Rick?
Good luck.
Because he's been doing these dances ever since he found out Nelly was going to be around.
Just do what I did. Get the tape out. Separate yourself. Create a wall. You're going to have to. 2-1 Dodgers. Wainwright and Lynn, along with Zimmerman, all at 13. Corbin with 12 and Liriano at 12. BJC Healthcare difference makers. It's 2-1 in favor of the Dodgers as they have just 5 base hits. It's Ellis, Uribe, and Punto. Pitch count at 94 for Wainwright. He is due up first, looking ahead to the bottom half of this inning. Rick Gordon has rejoined us. Great job having a chance to mingle with the fans, Rick.
I was doing a lot of mingling.
Surprised that you even came back.
They made me. I was ordered back.
You had a well. They
Not
had
the
enough
people
of
I
you.
was with. No.
They had enough of you.
No, I'm saying Fox Sports Midwest thought it would be nice for me to come back and join you, but I was enjoying my time with my friends.
I figured the fans just said, well, I think I've had enough of this guy. Beltran puts it away. So here we are at the UNB Champions Club. Dan and Rick with you. And I'll tell you what, we've had some fun here tonight, huh?
We're having fun here at Champions Club. I think it's a good game as well. Nice close game, and we really expected it to be that way, playing this Dodger team. And the starting pitchers have not disappointed
at all. Twitter poll presented by AT&T. Fans are excited about seeing Skip Schumacher.
I like that.
I do too. One of our favorites. Uribe has singled, also bounced into a 6-4-3 double play. Adam Wainwright leads the major leagues in strikeouts with his curveball. Tonight he has 5 Ks and he has allowed 5 base hits.
And better command tonight. That's what we talked about on the onset, that Adam Wainwright in his last outing had been up a bit. There he is at 99 pitches, and by being up in the zone, he was making some mistakes. There are times where he'll go up to get a strikeout. That's different. But when you're throwing your fastball, you've got to be able to command it on the corners and down, and Wainwright typically does that. Is a bit strange that he's had a couple of walks here tonight. That's unusual.
Reaching for it, and a ground ball that's hit to second. Carpenter makes the play. MLB ranks this year first innings per game, and then the strikeout walk ratio that we talked about. Wainwright with a pair of walks tonight. I go back to that at bat with Gonzalez, and I'm sure you'll talk about it in the post-game show. Led off the fourth, and some of these pitches were called balls, and anytime that Wainwright is around the plate, it's kind of like the same thing when you see Carpenter. Certain pitches that maybe he gets called on for strikes, especially late in the count, I question it because they have such a great understanding of the strike zone. But that leadoff walk turns into a run, and it's 2-1 Dodgers.
Like to think you get the benefit of the doubt.
That's slapped the other way, right past David Freese, and off the bat of Punto, who's digging for second base. 2-out double. On base for the second time tonight.
Late swing just inside the bag. 6th hit for the Dodgers, and really this game overall, Dan, has been a game where there have been some close plays. Close play at first base on a double play attempt, but close play at the plate. Close pitches in that particular at bat to Gonzalez, and really that's the way this game is. You get some breaks, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And how do you handle those breaks? How do you manage them? And how do you capitalize on them?
There's a line drive and a base hit. It drops, and Punto will score. How about that? Zach Greinke makes it 3-1 Dodgers.
Adam Wainwright very close to finishing off this inning. There's a curveball, and not a bad one, down and away. Pretty impressive that a pitcher can hit that particular pitch.
There's a breaking ball, and it is caught by Carpenter. Time to stretch. Dodgers add to their lead. It's 3-1 here at Busch. Cardinals have done here tonight. Descalso, that's a key 0 for 3 because remember he had runners at first and third, nobody out, struck out. Then the sacrifice put down by Wainwright for out number 2, the strikeout of Carpenter, and all of a sudden Greinke was out of a jam. What could have been a very good inning for St. Louis. Subway in-game box score. There's a live look at the UMB Champions Club. The World Series trophies are up here. And Vicki Bryant and her staff do such a great job with special events. And so if you're thinking about not only taking in a game, but maybe holding an event, a meeting, some of the trivia nights around town are done right here at the Champions Club. This is open 12 months out of the year. And they can host any type of event here at the ballpark. You can even dance up here. Wedding receptions have been done at the Champions Club. Cardinals.com/special events. As Chambers looks at a strike.
Been to a number of corporate events in the Champions Club, and it really is a unique place and kind of a special place. And of course, Busch Stadium in general is hopefully a place where people are building memories and connections. And we're going to be doing some adding on to Busch Stadium. In the process of doing that right now, beyond our left field wall, plenty of improvements, and Ballpark Village is on its way. Construction is happening, and looking forward to what we might see at that particular spot in 2014.
1 ball and 1 strike. Adrian Chambers. Bottom drops out of that pitch. Greinke is nasty, boy. Woo. He is good. One ball and 2 strikes on the speedy Chambers.
One thing about this Dodger team is they have a very good bullpen. We've seen more than we care to see of Greinke here tonight, and we know that we're going to see Kershaw tomorrow night, but the bullpen's pretty solid too. A little action right now in the Dodger bullpen, really just below us. And we can see what they're working on down there, Dan. A little better view from here of the Dodger bullpen.
Carlos Marmol, huh? Why not take a look at Carlos Marmol and then let the Cardinals maybe get back in this game? He's a part of their bullpen. That was Belisario getting loose, but Marmol was traded from Chicago and then went to the Dodgers. They felt they fixed a mechanical flaw in the minor leagues and then brought him up. This bullpen of the Dodgers has not allowed a run in their last 23 innings dating back to Friday. So to add to your theory that they're pitching well, they are. Walk to Chambers. Tying run comes to the plate. Time now for the AT&T U-verse Rewind as we broadcast from the UMB Champions Club tonight on Fox Sports Midwest. 3-1, bottom of the 7th. Greinke 6+. Puig 1 for 3 with a run scored. Wainwright, another solid outing. 7 innings, 7 hits. He's on the hook right now. The Cardinals could change that here. Carpenter lays down a bunt that rolls foul.
Well, this is Matt Carpenter thinking if I can bunt this ball fair, I'm going to get a base hit. It's clearly not a sacrifice in mind. He's just trying to catch the Dodgers sleeping a bit. The third baseman, Uribe, is way off the line. And when you're down by 2, you need base runners. So I'm okay with Matt Carpenter bunting. And what you particularly like to see when somebody's bunting for a hit, what they always teach you is if you're going to miss with the bunt, miss foul. You don't want to miss towards the middle of the diamond and just bunt your way into an out.
Here's an 0-1 pitch. A fastball at 93. It's one that Carpenter would love to have back. Time is called. Adrian Chambers, the runner at first. Good speed there.
Isn't it interesting? Just Chambers being aboard there is enough to kind of unnerve Greinke a little bit with the signs. He's thinking about him a little bit more than you would in a normal Cardinal base runner. And there are times where that'll affect what happens when you deliver the ball home.
Such a key base hit, the 2-out RBI by Greinke to give them this 2-run lead. Chambers, if you're down by a run, maybe more aggressive. Who knows?
Saw for years Willie McGee and Vince Coleman, and others have done it, but those were a couple of guys I saw quite a bit just absolutely destroy the concentration of National League pitchers. Speed can do that for you.
It's way outside.
Tommy,
2 balls and 2 strikes.
Tommy Herdan got more pitches right down the middle because of the split attention for a pitcher, and I wonder if perhaps that's something that Ellis is noticing here too, and just wanted to say, look, we're ahead here. Just get this guy. Get Carpenter. How are we going to get him and trying to get his attention back towards home instead of towards first base. Maybe he's wanting to make sure Greinke's not upset by any particular calls too that he thought he should have gotten. It's a catcher managing a game.
Getting to the point too, you get Carpenter on board, then the heart of this lineup coming up, and one swing of the bat, St. Louis is on top. I think there's any doubt, he's saying let's get Matt Carpenter right now.
I like your scenario. Say that again.
Carpenter reaches, and then I'll go with Craig as a home run.
All right.
Carpenter reaches.
Step one.
Puig showing off the arm. I'm with you. I love watching guys run, and I love watching guys throw the baseball.
I do. I mean,
goodness.
It's just fun to watch.
He is clearly a raw talent, but he is a talent.
Chambers had to make sure that ball didn't hit him. Kind of airmails this one a bit, but
airmailed the first one, but they ran that backup with the shortstop on the relay to perfection, and that's how you get it done. Interesting here what Don Mattingly may want to do. Pitch count at 104. Beltran does have a double tonight. That was back in the third. That may be it for Zach Greinke.
So that's the other thing Ellis might have been doing. Stalling. Making sure the reliever's ready. Is that the decision Don Mattingly's going to make?
Zach Greinke trying to pick up career win number 100 tonight. 2 runs on 5 hits in 7 innings in his last start. And he's going to stay with him. Righties, by the way, came in hitting .216 against him. And you've got Beltran hitting from the left side of the plate. The first 2 have reached here in the 7th. Leadoff walk to Chambers. A base hit by Carpenter. And Beltran is as locked in as we've seen him in a while. Bunting.
As much as I did not mind Matt Carpenter bunting, I feel just as strongly against Carlos Beltran doing it.
Wainwright bunting earlier in the ball game too to move a runner up, with then 2 outs for Carpenter. Interesting move there. You know,
not a fan of
I'm not a fan of that at all.
Carlos,
Beltran could put you on top.
He has 19 home runs, 58 RBIs.
We saw Mike Matheny talk to Beltran there. I wonder if he did that on his own.
He must have. And again, maybe he was thinking the same thing Matt Carpenter was. I can get a base hit here because the third baseman is back. But honestly,
Wow.
There's a reason he's off the line at third base, because he's respecting the power of Carlos Beltran, which I think we all would have preferred to see.
That'll be it. Greinke done. Craig coming to the plate. One of the best in the business with runners in scoring position. Retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Ronald Belisario comes in, and he'll face Alan Craig. So Chevy called to the pen, runners at second and third, and a chance here for Craig. So this was my scenario.
And I guess Carlos Beltran heard this scenario, so he figured he'd bunt just to make sure your scenario could still come true, which was Alan Craig going deep to give the Cardinals the lead.
The first pitch is taken low.
We're both still scratching our heads a bit.
The 1-0 pitch to Craig. And that's a fair ball. Race to the bag. A run will score. That's Chambers. RBI for Alan Craig. Carpenter advancing to third. RBI number 86 for Craig.
Phantom can
Off the chalk there.
driving the ball the other way. Cardinals certainly happy to get a run here, but I think they'd be disappointed if they don't get two.
And it's deep in the hole. Long throw, and Holiday is the third and final out. Cardinals pick up a run. It's now 3-2. and a Bomberito Sports Update with Pat Perez. All right, thank you, Pat. Kevin Segrist is into the ball game. The lefty, Archevi, called to the pen.
Wasn't as sharp right out of the All-Star break, but his last time out, he seemed to have gotten back on track again. Segrist showed a very good live fastball, and we saw a changeup from him his last time out, as well as a little slider that he throws. But honestly, the fastball that he has is definitely a plus pitch for him, and it'll be up to him to keep this game close.
You know, A-Rod is closing in on 3,000 hits. Also closing in on a milestone in home runs that would pay him an awful lot of money. More on that in the post-game show. As Rick and Pat will break down this game and also PEDs on the post-game show.
A lot to talk about.
Just what you wanted to talk about.
Well, you don't always get to do what you want. Learned that a long time ago.
One ball and one strike. Mark Ellis grounded into a double play. He's flied out and also grounded out again. 2 strikes on Ellis. And regardless of how this game finishes up, I'm sure Mike Matheny will be asked about a couple of things. One, Wainwright bunting, which you can see that, as at that point in time it was runners at first and third and 1 out. The way that Adam handles the bat, sometimes you think that you're better off in letting him swing away, as Beltran makes the catch. And the other one that is a head scratcher, I'm sure, for some, Beltran bunting with nobody out and 2 runners on.
The first one is a little simpler for me. If Adam Wainwright was hitting the way he did 3 or 4 years ago before his surgery, and you know, at that time really a big threat, somebody that was used as a pinch hitter often by Tony La Russa, I'd say let Adam swing the bat, but I'm okay with him bunting and giving the Cardinals a chance for 2 runs instead of just 1, particularly when you've got Matt Carpenter to follow. But the Carlos Beltran bunt still does not seem like a good play to me with what Beltran's capable of doing as far as the long ball is concerned. You got to think big inning at that point, don't you?
You do. As Craig steps on the bag. Still a ways to go in this ball game with 2 outs.
Ouch.
I don't even like looking at that. Ouch is right.
Painful just seeing that, isn't it? But that is a great shot, though. Puig looking like he was thinking bunt there on that first pitch. That's another kind of new age, kind of new era baseball thought that it's okay to bunt with 2 outs and nobody on. There was a time where you would never, ever do that. I think the home run becoming more a part of this game, and the fact that you've got 8 guys in your lineup that can hit one as opposed to 1 or 2, I think is the reason why. You can get on base, feel like next guy can hit a gapper, but if you're just thinking I'm going to bunt my way on with 2 outs, people would say, look, your job right there is to hit a double. Now, if you can bunt for a hit and steal second, and in Puig's case perhaps possibility 2, maybe that's okay, but bunting with 2 outs was a no-no. If nobody was on base.
Wainwright was able to control him for the most part. Struck him out twice. He did double and score back in the fourth. Puig had his issues handling that very good breaking ball of Adam Wainwright's. Two balls and two strikes. John Jay is there. 3-2 ball game. Freeze that had the double back in the fifth, in which Craig was thrown out at home plate. Third time that Craig has been thrown out going from first to home, and that's most in Major League Baseball. At that point in time, Jose Oquendo saying, all right, let's see if he can execute the relay. The Dodgers did do that.
Did not know they kept that stat, although in baseball, nothing surprises you.
Here's an 0-1 pitch.
I bet somebody could tell you who has the most doubles on Tuesdays.
Day games.
Tuesday day games with temperatures between 70 and 75 degrees.
I was going to say, the temperature has to be right. I want to thank our crew for making this possible. Telecast from the UMB Champions Club. All that gear, and it's a lot of it, shifts over here from our booth. 0-2 pitch. Our director today, Tom Mead, award-winning director.
Brian McCann, our producer, Keith Oberman, Dan Hyatt, the rest of our crew, and Tim Garcia always helping out up here. Danny Martinez. 1-2 pitch.
People having fun up here. It's been a blast. A couple more runs and make it better.
The 2-2. And Freeze hit by the pitch. Tying run is aboard. Certainly Belisario not thinking of doing that.
No chance. We even had Phantom Can on a hit by pitch. It didn't look like that hurt. We know better.
Yeah, from the UMB Champions Club. Take your base, no big deal.
Right.
For David Freeze.
Take him to the team. He did.
Dodgers skip Schumacher.
What a nice moment. The fans continued to stay on their feet applauding for Skip. He finally kind of tipped his hat and gave a big thank you, and still a number of Skip Schumacher fans here in St. Louis. I'm not sure that's ever going to change.
View from the Champions Club, and what a neat moment that was. Ovation for one of our favorites, Skip Schumacher. Paco Rodriguez. Interesting lefty here. Our Chevy called to the pen.
Very strange delivery from Rodriguez. The Cardinals have seen him before.
Bunted in the air. One away.
Bunts have been a story in a lot of ways. There's a delivery. He just takes the ball out of his glove, and he just gets too much of it. John Jay not able to deaden the ball, but Rodriguez very young, not a lot of experience, but the Dodgers bringing him to the big leagues quickly because of their need for an extra left-hander in their bullpen. They've got two of them, J.P. Howell and Rodriguez.
Here's Tony Cruz. Saw him homer against Cincinnati. One out and a runner at first for Cruz. Always talk about deception with a pitcher and how he delivers it to the plate. And when you watch Paco here, he's really holding it, and it looks to be an easy way to pick him up.
Well, yeah, he is to pitching what Jim Furyk is to golfing. He kind of has this odd, awkward swing that nobody would try to emulate. He holds the ball up, and he actually stops with his arm action, too. And to be able to kind of restart in the middle of your motion and then start going towards home plate, I mean, that's got to be a lot of strain on your shoulder. I mean, a lot of strain. But for him, the deception is just because the timing is so different than what players are used to seeing. So it's almost like now you see the ball, now you don't. And you're just not quite sure what to key off of. Most pitchers, it's pretty standard.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. Phantom cam. Take a look at it here.
Takes the ball out, points his fingers away from his body, doesn't go down. Most pitchers break their hands, the ball will go down. His goes straight back. So he's a short armor, and he tries to fool you by sticking his tongue out, too. And most pitchers will get to that position at some point. He just gets there in a different way. And then he stops and then starts from there.
Two balls and one strike on Tony Cruz. Been a good ball game tonight, huh?
It sure has. Promises to be an outstanding series. Cardinals play 17 out of 24 at home. Dodgers, Cubs, and Pirates in this homestand.
Cruz hits it towards short. Out there and out at first. It's a double play. What a double play just turned there by the Dodgers.
The game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Pat Paris and Rick Horton will be at Lumiere Place. Yasiel Puig makes his Busch Stadium debut. We'll take a long look at the Dodgers' young star. They'll break down Adam Wainwright's night, plus all the A-Rod news you could handle. Mike Matheny's guys down a run. We send it back to the Champions Club. Back to you, Dan.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Al has been kind enough to rejoin us, and Rick is on his way to the postgame show in the set. Segrist, his second inning of work, a crowd tonight of 42,464. 42,464. So, Al, we've got the three broadcasters with us.
Yeah, you try and do everything you can to keep me off the air.
This is Luke. This is Luke. He's on the air right now. Nice work, Luke. Luke McLaughlin, and he's going to bring us good luck. I hope. He's a good boy. I've been trying to convince Mo to sign him now. I only take 72.8%, Al.
Yeah, there's not much interest. A lot of interest in Luke, but I mean, if you put that money in the bank, you're not going to
I
get a lot of
understand the interest you're talking about. The other three have gone home. I'm still here with Luke. Luke says I'm sticking this through thick and thin. Andre Ethier at the plate. The 0-1 pitch.
One of these days we're going to have to see Mojica again, aren't we? One of these days, hopefully we'll see Mojica again.
Isn't that something? We haven't talked about him in a long, long time, it seems like.
He had one appearance on the Tire road trip, and that was in a non-save situation, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
There's the Chief. And we still got time to turn this one into either a come from behind victory or maybe extra inning save for him.
Strikeout of Ethier.
Wouldn't be an extra inning save, but get him in there in a victory.
Segrist, good work. Recording 4 outs. Seth Maness will come in and try to get the final 2 here in the top of the 9th, and then the chance for the Cardinals to come back, tie it up, maybe win it. You never know. 3-2. Good ball game tonight. to the pen.
It would been nice to see what he's done. He was the 11th round pick in 2011. And he just is a ground ball machine. First, we knew that he threw an awful lot of strikes, but he's getting the double plays. Kind of doesn't have that overpowering stuff, so he'll give up a lot of hits himself. But we said if he does, the next one, he'll turn it into a ground ball double play.
You've seen the opponent's average against him has been hovering around that 300 mark. But as you said, Al, you don't worry about it as much with him because of the potential of the double play. And
exactly.
He's turned a bunch of them, or at least started those.
He's turned 11 of them.
Here's an 0-2 pitch to A.J. Ellis.
Since he's come up, Mike Matheny has found a lot of trust in Seth Maness. He's tied for 5th in the National League with relief wins. He is first in the National League with his 11 double plays.
That's in the dirt. The Cardinals have Descalso due up first, then Maness' spot and the top of the lineup before this night is through.
It's a little weird because, you know, this is such a tight game, and yet the fans really maybe are thinking about the 7-game losing streak where runs were hard to come by.
Cardinals about hit LA 8-7.
This pitch a little bit up and away. I'll just say more away.
3-2 pitch, and it's a ground ball. A reminder that Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light Music First. It's the sound of history being made. Here we go. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Juan Uribe with 2 outs and nobody on, and a strike at the knees. Pair of ground outs and a single for Uribe. There's another strike. Quickly, 0-2. Nothing fancy about Seth Maness.
No, it works extremely quick. Just gets the ball, throws the ball. It's usually going to be in the strike zone, and most of the time they hit down on it for a ground ball.
Gets him to reach. Ground ball to short. Uribe retired. Cardinals down by a run as we head to the bottom of the ninth. Descalso due up first when we come back. Zach Greinke has our Nissan drive of the game. A breaking ball that he lifted with 2 outs into right center. That would score Nick Punto, who had doubled over David Freese. And all that done with 2 outs to give LA at that time a 3-1 lead. It's now 3-2, and Descalso leads it off for St. Louis. Matt Adams is moved to the on-deck circle. The lefty stays in the game as Descalso shows bunt and looks at a strike. Again, our crowd tonight, 42,464. Nasty pitch. 0-2. Check swing, and Descalso strikes out. Last National League team to win 14 consecutive road games in a single year, the Cincinnati Reds of 1957. They won 15, and now Dodgers trying to tie the Redlegs and also the 1912 New York Giants.
Think about it, Dan. Probably in 1912, 1916, those wins might have been all in one road trip. Sometimes you went out for 3 weeks, traveling by train. The other day I was talking about my first road trip in the big leagues. It was a 5-city, 18-day road trip. Went down all 3 stops on the West Coast: San Francisco, LA, and San Diego, Chicago, and then to Pittsburgh.
Oh. It's some time zones too.
Yep. Came up from Double-A, and I got more meal money and halfway of that road trip than I did in my salary for
Is that right?
Double-A. I was making the godly sum of $800 a month.
I can imagine. Here is Adams. One swing could tie this game up. They stick with the lefty against Adams. The shift is on, and it's a big one here for Adams.
And Brock Peterson on the bench, but then they would have gone to their closer, Kelly Jensen.
0-1 pitch. Couple of home runs against the lefties. 1-1. Ground ball. Gonzalez takes it for out number 2. Our player of the game brought to you by Budweiser, and it's the starter tonight for the Dodgers, Zach Greinke. 6 1/3, 8 hits, a couple of earned runs. He strikes out 4, walks 1, and has one of the most important base hits of the night.
It's going to be even tough for Adam Wainwright to swallow a 3-game losing streak and giving up the game-winning hit to your opposing pitcher. But still, Matt Carpenter could do some damage here. Not much difference if it's a lefty or righty on the mound.
You surprised that Don Mattingly did not go to his bullpen for his closer?
I am, and yet I'm not. You know, Poco is pretty tough, and they just have all the left-handers. You might have to retire Matt, and if he does, the game's over. If somehow Matt gets on base, they may want to turn Beltran around and then bring in their closer, who, by the way, has retired, I think, 25 straight batters.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Carpenter. Some managers believe that you get to the ninth inning, it's a safe situation. It doesn't matter. Lefty, righty, they're going with their closer.
And, but with all these wins, they might have their chance of being overworked.
Good
so
point.
Maybe it's an opportunity for him to pitch somebody else.
2-0 pitch. 2-1.
That's a big difference in the way the bullpens are run now. If a pitcher was doing the job, he stayed in the ninth inning with a lead. Didn't matter. You didn't go to a closer or you didn't go to somebody until the pitcher ahead of him got in trouble.
The 2-1 pitch to Carpenter. Here it comes. Lifts it out to deep center. That'll stay in the ballpark, and the Dodgers win this one. They hold on 3-2 the final. The winning streak on the road continues. 15 consecutive wins for LA. So the Dodgers hold on. We've enjoyed it from the UMB Champions Club. Post-game show is next.